came from a very rich home, unbelievably rich.
In Poland.
In Poland.
In Poland.
Yeah. So everything was confiscated by the Germans after 3 months, and everything was taken. But they gave us 35 pounds per person of clothing to take from the home, which we did. Very, very soon after that, we anticipated what was going to happen. So it hit us Christians in a small village nearby Krakow. And then my life was beautiful over there. I got along with the boys and girls. I was about 12 or 13 years old. We went in and picked potatoes, and they paid me, the farmers, Polish farmer paid me with food for working, and I was very happy to work because I couldn't go to school because Jewish children could not attend school. They were thrown away from school. So I actually earned a little bit money, which was good. Now, of course, my parents, I guess out of respect for my parents, the farmers would not ask them to work, but they probably could have. But so in a sense, I became the provider of the family without really knowing, because the food was extremely important. So that was actually, the life was great for me for that period of time. Then one day, we heard that there is a special group of SS called Einsatztruppen, which would come these villages for people like me and execute them. We had to smuggle ourselves under pain of death into the ghetto, which was in a way death in itself. But of course we didn't know that yet. And so we got into the ghetto. There we lived we found a place, and we lived for 4 months in a condition where we shared small apartment, slept on the floor for that period of time, and we shared the apartment with around 30 people. That's how they squeezed us. And you can imagine, the Germans would put water on and they would shut it off at a certain time. So we couldn't really wash very well, because so much we had to have shifts to wash, just to wash, never mind to cook, if you had any food. So it was a bad situation. From there, I got into the first so-called labor camp, because when the Germans started the camps, the first thing was a labor camp, then it was a concentration camp. And that was right near Krakow. It was called Plaszow. Over there was, in a way, killing by labor, and also they had some SS people that they were extremely personalized killings because you knew them. So when they would walk on the street and you would carry on labor, you knew that this guy is a killer. So you tried to be invisible, so as much as you could, but some people were killed while they were working. So usually you would get probably 20, 30 people a day killed by shootings. So that was the condition of this labor camp. And then I went to the Auschwitz, I told you about Auschwitz. How I got out of the Auschwitz was by coincidence. looked for volunteers to go to another camp. And I said to myself, hey, it's a death over here, so what's going to happen? Am I going to die early? Go ahead. It's almost like I was doing this, doing this, like, make my day. So I volunteered, and things really wasn't that bad. Really, they took me from a death camp into another labor camp, just like the first one. So you starved over there, but they didn't kill you over there. Apparently they need the labor. So they really worked us to death, like 16 hours a day of work without food, regular food. I mean, we did get a little bit of food. But you got extremely thin and lost a lot of weight, but they didn't kill you. They killed, people died, of course, from overwork and hunger or illness. Then one day they said, well, we're going to liquidate this camp because partisans are coming in this way. You know what partisans are? Those are people that went underground with a weapon, hid in the mountains and came out and harassed the Germans during the night or day and disappeared during the day again, so that they were fighting Germans. And so they were coming close, and the Germans were afraid that they're going to take the camp over so that we will join them and there would be more partisans around. So they liquidated the camp and they sent us to Germany. And that was another killing camp with labor. It was called Kaufbeuren or Kaufring. And we were building underground aircraft thing. It was a huge cave inside of the mountain. And we carried the cement on the planks. I was one of the carriers. And the life of a cement carrier was figured on 3 months, because either you died from toxic fumes from cement to the point that your face was gray, because actually the cement got into your body, so it it was flowing with you blood, and you saw a whole bunch of people gray, literally gray, like cement. Do you ever see cement? How gray?
The color was gray?
Yeah, gray.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exhausted because they carried the 50-pound bags on a very narrow plank. The plank was about that narrow. And when you put many people, the planks were strong, but under the weight of the people as they were going, the plank would be going like that. So if you fall about 4 floors down, and you kill yourself. So you can imagine. And some people, that's how they died. Some people fell into the dry cement and drowned. Can you just imagine? And nobody cared about that. Of course, the Germans, that was just another way of killing people. So I can give you a lot of horror stories, that's just one of them. But that is certainly how I got out of that was another pure luck. It was when I was in my first camp, I was categorized by the German labor supervisors as a metal worker. Okay, and a metal worker stuck with me. Everything that I ever went, the Germans kept such a, even for the prisoners that were supposed to die, they kept records. So one camp, they would pass the record, my record, with many other prisoners, who you were. So they read this list that they had, and they said, oh, he is a metal worker. There's a guy that just lost his hand working because the machine pulled him in and cut it off. So they put me there from the cement thing, which was a great luck because I worked on a cement probably 5 weeks, and the average lifespan of prison that carried the cement was, like I said, 3 months. And so it was a great relief. And so the next thing was that they liquidated somehow. What happened is they changed their mind. Maybe the Allied were getting closer and closer, so they terminated that camp, and they brought me to a place called Messerschmitt Camp, which was deeper in Bavaria in Germany. And there, again, was only, it wasn't, there was interesting camp because at that point it didn't matter if you were Jew, Christian, Muslim, Mohammedan, Indian, and they were. Everybody was mixed.
Whoa.
And the reason
Did
was
they
for
fight
that.
each other?
Pardon me?
Did other religions?
They were treated
other-
the same.
Well, I mean, did the Jews fight with the Muslims while they were in the camps?
Yeah, everybody was, yeah. And but that camp didn't have any killing, believe it or not, because the reason, because don't forget, Germans don't do anything without a reason. They got to have a reason. There are two things. They got to have a reason and they got to have an order, which saved my life too, on the end. But the reason was that most of the German males was fighting the Russians on the Russian front, so they didn't have any labor. That was the reason. So they didn't kill you anymore with this or that and the other, but you had to work so many hours and hunger will kill you eventually. But they didn't kill you like they did in the other situation. So there was another luck. And there, finally, the war is coming to an end. So they take us and divide us into the groups of 500. And of course, now the SS is trying to cover up the killing. So they want to kill you so that you wouldn't be witnessed. So they marched us into the woods, and that was a death march. They landed in the woods, and over there, they prepared the graves for us. They had a big machine that they dug huge hole, so we knew it was for us. And but the SS didn't get the order to do it. I was just thinking,
They had to have
order.
orders.
They have to have an order. And so the reason they didn't get the order, because the leader happened to be in Augsburg, was the main city, was in charge of this group of SS, and he was already grabbed, imprisoned by the Americans,
Oh.
because the Americans were coming. Okay? We're
Oh.
talking about 1945.
So you were saved again.
So they couldn't kill us without the order. So here we are waiting and kind of ready, and being in a striped uniform, which you will see over there, that's the original one.